Hi ladies. Let's get honest for a moment. We spend so much time trying to decode men, what they want, what they fear, what makes them stay. But here's the truth. Most men carry secret desires they rarely speak about. Not because they're playing games, but because they've been taught to bury their emotional world. But what if you could see through that silence? What if you understood what really makes him feel alive, desired, and seen? Here are 10 things men secretly crave. Underneath the tough exterior, the casual texts, and even the "I'm fine" smiles. Learn them, and you'll not only win his attention, you'll own space in his thoughts. He wants to feel chosen. It's not enough to love him. He wants to feel like the one you chose, out of every possible option, with eyes wide open. For many men, this longing is so deeply buried that even they don't fully realize it's there, but it drives how they show up in relationships. He doesn't want to be someone you ended up with because he was available, good enough, or made sense. He wants to be the exception, the one who makes your heart skip a beat, the one you think about when you're alone with your dreams. This is especially true in a world filled with constant comparisons, social media, dating apps, endless distractions. Men are more aware than ever of how easily someone can be replaced. That's why it means everything when he senses you've made a conscious, confident decision to want him. He wants to feel that you didn't just fall into his arms by chance, you landed there by choice, and you'd choose him again, even knowing all his flaws. That kind of affirmation doesn't just stroke his ego, it roots him in loyalty. When you choose him, really choose him, you send a signal: I see you. I value you. I'm not looking for better, because you are what better looks like to me. And you don't have to scream it. Small gestures matter more. The way you defend him when others doubt him. The way you light up when he walks in the room. The way you turn your phone face down to give him your full attention. Every one of these micro moments reinforces something vital: he matters. But choosing him also means choosing him even when he's not perfect. When he's doubting himself. When he's failing. When he's closed off and silent. Choosing him during the storm, not just the sunshine, is what earns you a space in his soul. You become the one constant in a chaotic world. And let's be clear, this isn't about being submissive, or making him your entire life. It's about anchoring him in the knowledge that someone sees his core and still says, I want you. If you want to live in a man's mind, don't just tell him he's special, treat him like he's your standard. Speak to him like his voice matters. Show him off like he's your prize, not your project. Tell your friends about the things he's proud of. Celebrate him in public, comfort him in private, and always remind him that you could have chosen anyone, and you still choose him. Every day, every time, that's what makes you unforgettable. He craves admiration, not just affection. You could shower him with affection, touches, kisses, flirty messages, and yes, he'll love it. But what touches something deeper, something sacred, is admiration. It's not about worshiping him or pretending he's perfect. It's about seeing his essence, who he is when no one's watching, and reflecting that truth back to him. Most men will never say it out loud, but they're starving for someone to recognize the weight they carry, the sacrifices they make, and the battles they fight in silence. Men live in a world that constantly evaluates them based on performance, money, success, status. Every room they walk into, they're being measured. And most of the time, they don't get credit for what really matters: staying loyal when tempted. Showing up when tired, choosing discipline over impulse. So when a woman comes along who sees that, who names it, it cracks something open inside him. He may laugh it off, but he'll remember. It will echo in his mind in the quietest hours. Tell him how much you admire the way he handles conflict without blowing up. How he shows up for the people he loves, even when it's inconvenient. How he dreams big but still remembers the small things that matter. Notice how he leads, how he stays calm, how he owns his mistakes. Your admiration doesn't have to be loud, but it must be specific. Because vague praise feels generic. But detailed admiration? That feels intimate. That says, I don't just love you, I know you. And the most powerful form of admiration? Belief. When you believe in his future, especially when he's doubting it himself, you give him something more valuable than motivation, you give him courage. Admiring his past is nice, Admiring his present is better. But admiring the man he's becoming, that's unforgettable. That makes you his lighthouse, the woman he turns to when the world feels too heavy. Also, don't save your admiration for when things go right. Admire how he gets back up when things go wrong. How he keeps going. How he never lets you see the full weight of his stress. That's where the gold is. That's where he wants to feel seen, not just for what he achieves, but for the effort he puts in even when it hurts. Admiration plants deep roots in a man's psyche. It builds pride, connection, and a fierce sense of protection toward you. He will want to prove your belief right. He'll rise to the level of the version you see in him. Because when a man is truly admired by a woman he respects, he doesn't just feel strong, he becomes unstoppable. He wants emotional safety but is afraid to ask. Most men walk through life wearing invisible armor. From a young age, they're taught to suppress feelings, hide fears, and tough it out no matter what. Vulnerability? That's weakness, or so the world tells them. So even the bravest, kindest, most emotionally intelligent man will hesitate before showing you his raw inner world. It's not because he's cold or distant. It's because he's scared. Scared that if he opens up, you'll flinch. That you'll lose respect. That you'll use it as ammo the next time you're angry. This fear lives under the surface, always watching, always bracing. And yet, he wants to let it down. More than anything. He wants to be able to say, I'm not okay today, and not be treated like less of a man. He wants to confess the things that haunt him, his regrets, his insecurities, his doubts, and know that you'll hold those confessions with care. That you won't try to fix him. That you won't diminish him. That you'll simply say, I see you. I'm still here. Emotional safety isn't created by grand gestures. It's built in the little moments where you don't react with judgment, where your eyes stay soft, your voice stays calm, and your presence remains solid. If he ever cries in front of you, or confesses something he's never told anyone, understand this. He's not just sharing pain. He's placing his trust in your hands. And what you do in that moment will decide how safe he feels for years to come. If you meet him with acceptance, not panic, not shame, not pity, you'll unlock something sacred. Because most men aren't looking for someone to carry their burdens. They just want someone to stand beside them while they carry their own. You might think he's emotionally distant or walled off, but often, that distance is a defense, one he built long before he met you. If you want him to let you in, you have to prove, over time, that you won't weaponize his vulnerability. That when he falters, your respect won't disappear. That when he's lost, your love doesn't shrink. That kind of emotional safety is rare, and when he finds it, he clings to it with a loyalty most women only dream about. Be the woman who lets him breathe. Who lets him speak without interruption. Who doesn't rush to label him. Be curious, not corrective. Be patient, not probing. Let him open in his own time. When you create that space, when you become the person he can finally exhale around, you don't just capture his trust. You become irreplaceable, because in a world that constantly tells him to be hard, you become the one place he's allowed to be soft. He wants to be the hero in your story. At his core, a man doesn't just want to be liked. He wants to be useful. Deeply, meaningfully useful to you. This desire isn't about arrogance, it's about purpose. Men are wired to want to protect, to provide, to uplift. It's not that he wants you to be helpless. Quite the opposite. He wants to be the one who makes your strong even stronger. The one who lifts your life, not controls it. And when you let him feel that he matters to your journey, his masculine identity comes alive in the best possible way. He wants to feel like he adds value, not just emotionally, but practically. That when your car breaks down, he's the one you call. That when you're overwhelmed, you lean on him to ground you. That when you share your dreams, he's allowed to be part of building them. Even simple things, like asking for his opinion, or his help with something small, can speak volumes. You're not showing weakness, you're showing trust, and to a man, trust is sacred. When you celebrate his strength, not just physical, but mental and moral, you light him up. When you believe in his decisions, his ideas, his leadership even if it's not perfect, he starts walking taller. He starts doing more, giving more, being more. Because nothing fuels a man like the feeling that he's needed, not out of dependence but out of connection. That you want him involved. That he makes your life richer just by being in it. Let him lead sometimes, not because you can't, but because you respect him enough to let him. Leadership isn't about domination, it's about initiative. When he steps up to protect you, to plan something for you, to fix a problem, don't brush it off. Don't say, "I can do it myself," even if you can. Let him contribute, let him matter. The more you reinforce his place in your life, the more deeply he roots himself there. And here's the real secret. When you let a man be your hero, he starts seeing you as his queen. He becomes fiercely loyal, devoted, proud. He tells his friends about you. He defends you. He prioritizes you. Why? Because in making space for him to rise, you lifted his identity too. You didn't just love him. You empowered him. And for a man who wants to protect and serve the woman he adores, that's the deepest kind of love he knows. He secretly hopes you'll understand his silence. Not all men speak their hearts aloud, and that doesn't mean they don't have one. Silence, for many men, is not absence. It's a sacred space of internal movement. He might sit quietly, eyes distant, and seem detached. But what's really happening is an avalanche of thought, memory, pressure, or even fear behind those eyes. He's sorting through something that doesn't yet have words. And when you rush to break the silence, to ask what's wrong or demand connection on your timeline, you may unintentionally trample the delicate ground he's trying to stand on. He wants you to recognize his silence for what it often is, processing. Men are taught not to emote the way women do. Society wires them for solitude in their struggle. So silence becomes their language. But inside it, they are testing the world. Will you stay with me even when I don't perform? Will you still love me when I don't explain myself? If you can sit beside him without needing to fix the silence, without trying to force comfort, you'll communicate something far more powerful than words. You'll say, "I trust your pace. I honor your inner world. I'm not afraid of your quiet." That kind of energy makes him feel respected. It makes him feel safe. And eventually, often when you least expect it, he'll speak. He'll open, not because you pulled it from him, but because you made space for it to rise on its own. This kind of emotional patience is rare, and men feel its absence everywhere. In a world full of people who rush them to be expressive, who punish them for shutting down, your presence becomes a balm. A woman who can understand a man's silence without taking it personally becomes unforgettable. She becomes his calm in the storm. He doesn't need you to analyze him. He doesn't want you to perform emotional CPR every time he withdraws. What he wants, what he longs for, is someone who trusts that even in his silence, he's with you. That even in his quiet, he cares. And when he finally does speak, when he finally lets you into that quiet world, it's not casual. It's sacred, because he chose you to see what no one else sees. Be that quiet presence, the one who doesn't flinch at his silence. The one who understands that sometimes love looks like two souls sharing a room, saying nothing at all, but feeling everything. He wants sex to feel emotional, not just physical. Yes, men are visual. Yes, they desire sex deeply. But underneath the drive is a yearning most never admit. They want to feel something during sex, not just release something. Physical connection is easy to find. Emotional connection during intimacy? That's what separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. He wants to know that in those moments of nakedness, you're not just undressing for him, you're offering something real. Presence, warmth, trust. He might never say it out loud, but he watches for it. The eye contact, the way you breathe in sync, the way your hands linger, not out of habit, but out of meaning. When you touch him like you mean it, not to seduce him, not to perform, but to connect, something in him softens. Something deep within him awakens. He stops feeling like a man simply having sex and starts feeling like a man being received. And that, to him, is rare. He wants to feel wanted beyond the act, not just as a body or a tool for pleasure, but as a soul being seen. When you stay close after, when you kiss his forehead, when you hold him without needing to rush, those are the moments that sink into his memory. That's when sex becomes something else entirely, bonding. He may pretend to be casual about it. He may even joke about the physical side. But the truth? If sex doesn't feel emotionally safe, he won't let you all the way in. Not really. He longs to be worshipped in a way that's not about dominance but devotion. To feel like you're not just letting him in, but inviting him in, emotionally, spiritually, intimately. To be trusted with your vulnerability. To have his own vulnerability welcomed in return. And when that happens, when sex becomes sacred, not just sexy, he connects to you in a way he can't even explain. That's why your intention matters more than any lingerie, more than any move. It's not about what you do. It's about how you make him feel. Desired, safe, seen, cared for. In those moments, his soul relaxes. He forgets the pressure to perform. He just is, and in that state, he bonds with you at a level that goes far beyond the body. It rewires his heart. It stamps your presence into the deepest parts of his masculinity, not through power, but through profound emotional intimacy. If you want to leave an imprint on his body and mind, don't just give him pleasure, give him presence. Show him that sex with you isn't just skin to skin, it's soul to soul. He wants to be seen beyond the provider label. Men walk through life with a weight most people never see. It's the pressure to provide, to succeed, to always be doing in order to feel worthy of love. They are told, both subtly and directly, that their value lies in their paycheck, their status, their productivity. That unless they're building empires, paying bills, climbing ladders, they don't have the right to rest, feel, or even be loved. So many men carry this burden into relationships. And while they may not speak it, they're watching closely to see, do you love me, or do you love what I can give you? He wants to be more than your security blanket or success partner. He wants to be seen, really seen, for the boy he was, the man he's becoming, the quiet parts he hides. He wants to know that even if he lost everything tomorrow, his title, his business, his savings, you would still look at him with the same softness in your eyes. That your loyalty is to him, not his achievements. If you only praise his ambition but never his heart, he notices. If you only appreciate the dinners he pays for but not the effort he makes to emotionally show up, he feels it. He starts to wonder if your love is conditional. And the truth is, many men have been loved conditionally. They've been used. They've been admired only when they're winning. So when a woman comes along who honors the man and not just the metrics, she becomes unforgettable. She becomes home. Tell him you see the way he treats strangers, the way he protects the people he loves, the way he listens even when he's exhausted. Celebrate not just what he does but who he is, his loyalty, his integrity, his effort. When you make it clear that he doesn't have to earn your love through constant output, you give him a gift he rarely receives, the right to just be. Love him when he's broke. Love him when he's lost. Love him when he questions his path. That doesn't mean you ignore ambition or dismiss goals. It means you remind him that who he is, stripped of all the external labels, is enough. And when a man feels that kind of acceptance, he unlocks parts of himself that no one else ever gets to see. The tenderness, the creativity, the soul. See the man, not the resume. Choose the person, not the position. And you'll access the part of him that longs to be loved with no conditions, no trophies, and no performance. Just presence, just truth, just you. He craves playful, pressure-free connection. Life is heavy. For men, especially, the weight of expectation can be suffocating. They're expected to be stoic, strong, emotionally available yet never needy, driven yet relaxed, successful but not arrogant. Every day, he moves through a world that demands perfection while offering very little space to simply breathe. So when he comes to you, what he secretly craves, what his soul aches for, is lightness. Not everything has to be a relationship talk. Not every moment has to be deep or dramatic. Sometimes, all he wants is to laugh with you like kids sneaking out after curfew. Play is not childish. For men, it's healing. When he can joke with you, wrestle on the couch, watch something dumb without explaining why, or tease you without fear of being misunderstood, he feels free. In those moments, he's not your boyfriend, your partner, your protector, he's just himself. And that version of him, the relaxed, playful, open-hearted version, That's the one he doesn't show the world. That's the one you get when he trusts you enough to drop the armor. You don't have to be funny or wild to give him this space. You just have to be open. Open to silliness. Open to light conversations that go nowhere. Open to dancing in the kitchen or turning a grocery run into an adventure. These little acts of spontaneity tell him, you don't have to entertain me. I enjoy just being with you. And when a man feels that, he stops feeling like a performer in a relationship and starts feeling like a partner. Men are often so guarded that when they find someone who lets them be goofy, flawed, ridiculous, it feels like emotional oxygen. And that fun doesn't mean the relationship is shallow. In fact, it's what protects it. Humor softens conflict. Playfulness strengthens intimacy. When you can laugh together, you create a bond that outlasts lust, stress, or time. So don't underestimate the power of a pillow fight, a silly nickname, or a random inside joke. Those are the moments that stay with him. Those are the moments he remembers when he's stressed at work, sitting in traffic, or lying awake at 2 a.m. It's not the heavy talks or the big gestures. It's the spark of joy you brought to his otherwise demanding world. Be his light place. Be the one he associates with laughter, ease, and relief. When the world makes him tense, let your presence be what makes him exhale. And you won't just be the love of his life. You'll be the best part of his day. Ask ChatGPT. He wants to feel like he makes you feel alive. There's something primal and deeply emotional that happens when a man sees the effect he has on a woman he cares about. He wants to feel like he brings out your laughter, not just because he said something funny, but because you feel safe and light around him. He wants to be the reason you glow, not because of some external achievement, but because being with him turns something on inside you. When a man sees that his presence can elevate your energy, inspire your creativity, or ignite your desire, it fulfills a deep part of his masculine core. This isn't about stroking his ego or performing happiness to make him feel good. It's about letting him see the honest, unfiltered way he brings your spirit to life. Did he say something that made you think differently about yourself? Tell him. Did he make you feel sexy in a way no one else ever has? Show him. Did he do something small, like remember your coffee order or send you a song that reminded him of you, that made your heart skip a beat? React. Don't suppress your joy. Don't play indifferent. Don't act like you've seen it all before. That sparkle in your eyes is his oxygen. A man doesn't just want to be with a woman. He wants to feel like he can reach her, stir her, move her. And when you give him that honest emotional feedback, when you let him see that you're inspired, turned on, or made lighter because of something he said or did, it tells him he matters. That his presence isn't just convenient, it's impactful. And that makes him feel 10 feet tall. Don't underestimate the power of a simple, genuine reaction, a sudden laugh that catches him off guard. A quiet gasp when he brushes your hair away from your face. A text that says, "I can't stop thinking about what you said last night." These small things show him that he lives not just in your life, but in your mind, and that makes him feel unforgettable. When he sees you light up, it reinforces something he hopes but never dares to assume, that he adds to your life in a way no one else does. That he's not just part of your routine, he's part of your magic. And the more you show it, the more deeply he invests. Because if he feels like he can light your fire, he'll spend the rest of his life keeping it burning. He secretly wants a woman who understands his dreams, even the wild ones. Men dream in big, messy, untamed ways. Sometimes those dreams are practical. Starting a business, changing careers, becoming financially free. Other times, they're romantic or reckless. Buying land in the mountains, writing a novel, building a motorcycle by hand, traveling to far-off places without a plan. And here's the thing, most of the world responds to those dreams with skepticism. Be realistic. Grow up. That's not practical. So when he shares even a sliver of that vision with you, it's not just small talk, it's sacred. He's testing whether you'll nurture his imagination or crush it with doubt. He doesn't expect you to make his dreams your own, but he secretly hopes you'll see them, understand where they come from, get excited with him, encourage him when he falters. When you say, "I believe you can do it," something shifts inside him. You become his mirror. reflecting not who he is today, but who he could become. And that's a role few people are allowed to play in his life. Believing in his dreams isn't just about cheering from the sidelines, it's about listening deeply. Ask questions about the vision. Ask why it matters to him. Help him articulate it. Sometimes men don't even know how much they need a witness to their dreams until someone gives them that space. When you don't roll your eyes at the crazy ideas, when you do lean in with curiosity, you communicate something powerful. I don't just love who you are, I love where you're going. That kind of belief is like emotional rocket fuel. He'll take bigger risks. He'll carry himself differently. He'll start showing up as the man who deserves the kind of woman who sees greatness in him. Your faith won't just make him feel supported, it will shape his future. Because every great man was once a dreamer who simply had someone whisper, "You can." And remember, when he shares his dream with you, he's not looking for a cheerleader. He's looking for an ally. A woman who sees the fire in him and says, "I'll walk with you, even when the path looks insane to others." When you do that, you earn a piece of his soul. Because you didn't just stand by him, you stood with his vision, and that's the most intimate place a man can let you in. Understanding a man's hidden desires isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. Let's be very clear, this is not about pretending. It's not about twisting yourself into a shape he'll approve of, or memorizing a set of tricks to win a man like a prize at the end of some game. This isn't a strategy, it's a language, a deeply human language of empathy, awareness, and love that too many women were never taught how to speak, and too many men were never taught how to receive. Understanding a man's inner world means seeing beyond the surface. It means learning how he processes, how he protects himself, how he loves even when he doesn't say the words. It's about noticing the quiet way he shows up for you, through action, not just expression. When you truly understand a man's emotional and spiritual desires, you begin to communicate with him on a level that most of the world never reaches. And once you go there with him, he won't want to go anywhere else. This connection is not forced, it's felt. It's when you respond to his silence not with suspicion, but with grace. When you praise his effort, not just his success. When you speak life into his wildest dreams instead of dismissing them as foolish. It's when you choose him on days when he can't even choose himself. That's when connection happens. That's when trust takes root. That's when love grows so deep it no longer needs performance to be sustained. And here's the truth. Men are starving for this kind of connection. Starving for a place where they don't have to perform to be loved. Where they can be strong and scared, confident and confused, fierce and tender. They want to be seen, heard, understood, not dissected, not fixed, not judged. When you offer that kind of space, it disarms them in the most beautiful way. Because you're not trying to manipulate a reaction, you're inviting them to be real. This kind of connection doesn't demand constant effort. It's built from authenticity. Your ability to meet him in his truth comes from your own self-trust. Your ability to hold space for his masculinity is rooted in your own relationship with your femininity, not as weakness, but as strength in softness. When you show up in that energy, he can feel it. And when a man senses your presence as safe, clear, and emotionally honest, he begins to offer you pieces of himself no one else has ever seen. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it real. You're not catching a man. You're meeting him, and not just the version he shows the world, but the one who lives underneath it all, longing to be known. These are not tricks, these are truths. Use them with care, with heart, and with your whole authentic self, and you won't just capture his mind. You'll win his soul. There's a reason this goes far beyond strategy, because truth resonates. Always, when you stop trying to decode, manipulate, or control, and instead start listening, seeing, and feeling, you connect with him on the level where he lives. That's not a performance. That's power. Real, feminine, grounded power. And it's rare. The truth is, men can sense the difference between a woman who's performing interest and one who's present in it. They feel when your encouragement is rehearsed, or when it comes from a deep, honest belief in who they are. They know when your laughter is for approval and when it's from the gut. They may not always be able to articulate it, but they feel it. And when they feel something real, they remember it. They crave it. When you bring your whole self, your warmth, your standards, your grace, your honesty, to the relationship, you offer something no one else can: intimacy without manipulation, support without sacrifice of self, love without control. You show him that he doesn't need to win your heart through performance. He simply needs to meet you in truth, and you'll meet him there too. This is the woman he'll stay up thinking about. The woman he'll protect without hesitation. The woman he'll build for, show up for, and never stop choosing, over and over again. Because you didn't just understand his hidden desires. You honored them. You didn't just love his image. You loved his essence. And that's not something he'll ever want to let go of.